Chaos erupted outside a Miami nightclub when tensions between TerenceCrawford and GervontaDavis hit a boiling point. We're talking flying fists, heated words, and reputations on the line. It all kicked off when GervontaDavis crossed a line, throwing serious shade at Crawford and even dragging his family into it. If that wasn't bad enough, he mocked Crawford's ambition to land a fight with Canelo Alvarez, dismissing it as nothing more than a desperate cash grab. This feud has been simmering for months, but last night it exploded in the most shocking way. So, here's how it all went down. It was a typical wild night in Miami. Celebrities, athletes, and high energy filled the city's hottest club. Among the VIPs were none other than Crawford and Davis, both fresh off recent fights and looking to unwind. Initially, they were in separate sections, but as the night progressed, their paths inevitably crossed. Eyewitnesses say things turned tense fast when Davis approached Crawford, clearly looking for a confrontation. What started as playful trash talk quickly spiraled into something way more personal. Davis began hurling insults not just at Crawford, but at his family, crossing a line that left the whole room in shock. Crawford, usually calm under pressure, tried to let it slide at first, but when Davis doubled down, mocking his efforts to fight Canelo, laughing and saying, "Canelo doesn't even care about you, man. You're just chasing a payday." The vibe turned downright toxic. Then in a split second, he snapped, lunging at Davis and throwing a punch that caught everyone completely off guard. Chaos erupted. Security scrambled to break them apart.
Likelihood of a fight with you and TerenceCrawford, it would be one of the biggest in boxing.
We're not talking about yet about the fight. Me and two gonna know each other, and then we wanna see what happens.
And when do you want to get out next? I know you're here in London tonight. When are you going to be in a camp?
Huh?
When are you going to be in a camp? I know you're
in camp, training camp in March.
Okay, so
at the beginning of the middle of the February or March. Yeah.
But the damage was already done. Screams filled the air. Flashes from phones lit up the scene, and the entire club was thrown into disarray. It was a moment people won't forget anytime soon, and for all the wrong reasons. If you've been following the boxing world, you know. This clash didn't just come out of nowhere. The tension between TerenceCrawford and GervontaDavis has been building for months, fueled by a steady stream of social media shots and fiery interview jabs. It all began when Crawford publicly mocked Davis for not receiving an invite to the prestigious Turkey Alec Ring Awards in London, a high-profile event packed with the sport's elite. That dig didn't sit well with Davis. Never one to back down, Davis fired back hard, accusing Crawford of chasing paychecks instead of legacy, especially when it came to his controversial pursuit of a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Insults kept flying, each one sharper, more personal than the last. This feud has been headline material for months, with fans
Why are you retiring?
What changed? What made this trash? Garbage. If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Gervonta, something should have happened during this time, because when we saw you when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment, and now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing since you were a kid and everything? Where's Calvin Ford? Is Calvin Ford and Leonard Edelby usually they're around to?
You think you might be gaining love for it though? You never know. Like say you got a squad today.
and pundits watching every move. But no one expected it to reach this level. No one saw it escalating into full-blown violence until now. Now let's dive into the drama between TerenceCrawford and Canelo Alvarez.
Bud Crawford, just won his debut at 154. Said if the money's right, we'll fight. Everybody wants that fight. What do you feel about that matchup? People saying the weight, all this stuff. How do you feel about that?
You know, everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights plus less than me. But if the money is right, why not? Right? Why not? But look, I'm focused 100% on Berlanga. I know I have a challenge in front. I never overlook any fighter. So I'm focused 100% in this, and then we...
The very storyline GervontaDavis used to mock Crawford. Crawford's bold decision to move up to 168 pounds and challenge Canelo for his unified super middleweight titles has sparked serious debate across the boxing world. Some see it as a gutsy move, a shot at greatness. Others?
Tonight, Terence Crawford was with Turkey Al Sheikh at the other event across town. Put out an open challenge to you on the internet with Turkey Al Sheikh calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comments.
They're calling it a desperate reach for a payday. On one hand, some see it as a bold, legacy-defining move, a chance for Crawford to cement his place in boxing history by taking on one of the sport's biggest and most dangerous names. On the other hand, critics aren't buying it.
When you say, I want Canelo, is there anybody in the camp that would say, you're not ready for this?
That's a big boy. He's strong. That's a conversation. It's not just, oh, man, you will whoop his ass.
Like, yes, man type stuff.
I'm not worried about Canelo. I'm not thinking about Canelo. I'm just focused on Israel Magno.
In a small way, is this a stepping stone to your dream fight?
I don't look at fights as stepping stone. It's about now.
They argue that Crawford is chasing a paycheck, not greatness, claiming he has little to no real shot at beating Canelo. Davis didn't hold back on this one. He openly mocked Crawford for thinking Canelo even cares about him, or the fight. Canelo's got bigger fish to fry, Davis reportedly scoffed.
Errol has a metal shield and you have a glass shield. Talk about the punch resistance. What do you think it takes to Cessna, man?
Don't see. Don't see.
Could he get it in the future?
Too little.
I mean, you came up from 35, right?
He ain't fighting no real guys at 47.
See. Okay. What about everyone's talking about Errol fighting the winner of Canelo and Jermell. Could you ever do that? Is that too much weight or?
What, 168?
Yeah.
I ain't going up there.
Right.
So we got Canelo winning then, right?
Then he fighting at 168.
He doesn't even know you exist, and here you are begging for a fight like it's your retirement plan. The truth is, the potential Crawford versus Canelo fight.
My good friend, my brother, TerenceCrawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that favor Canelo is that is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him out.
Has been labeled by many as more spectacle than sport. A circus match, designed more for entertainment value than genuine competition. Boxing insiders and pundits alike argue that Crawford hasn't earned a direct shot at Canelo. They say if he wants to...
For you, though, is that career-defining? Is this a legacy fight for you?
Well, when I got shot, for me to change my life the way that I did and stop hanging out with the guys that I hung out with, my career started going up. And yes, this is a legacy fight for me. This is a mega fight. This is a superstar fight. This is all those in one with me and Errol Spence Jr. A lot of people, they writing me off because they say, oh, well, he's too small, or he haven't fought nobody like Errol Spence, or his resume is this, or his resume that. There's a lot of things that a lot of people can say, but on July 29th, all the answers to everybody's questions will be answered.
Compete at 168, he should prove himself against the top contenders first, not skip the line for a mega fight. And that's exactly where Davis's taunts struck a nerve. That jab, calling out Crawford's fast track to Canelo, was the final spark that pushed him over the edge. Fans went wild when the news of the Crawford-Davis brawl broke. Social media exploded. Hashtags like Buying Shark Club Chaos, Shark Crawford v. Davis, and CH Boxing Drama started trending within seconds. Many fans are backing Crawford, arguing that Davis crossed a serious line by bringing his family into the feud.
They retired.
What changed?
What made this shit trash, garbage?
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
Gervonta, something should have happened during this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment, and now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing since you were a kid and everything? Where's Calvin Ford? Is Calvin Ford and Leonard Edelby usually they're around to?
You think you might be gaining love for it though? You never know. Like say you got a spark today.
But others are calling it classic Tank, stirring the pot to keep himself in the headlines, especially as retirement looms on the horizon. Let's be real, though. Davis isn't just throwing hands for fun. He's building hype, and it's working. But here's the kicker. GervontaDavis isn't stopping with Crawford. Word on the street?
Hopefully I fight Ryan again. If they're not on some host, I'll tax that ass again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start screaming out that, yeah, and that, stop it, knock it off, cuz. Stop it.
Tell him send that bag, and I'm coming. And I'm, you know.
He's in talks for a massive rematch with Ryan Garcia. We're talking a jaw-dropping $150 million deal, backed by none other than Turkey Lake, the same guy who's been bankrolling some of boxing's biggest spectacles. Turkey Lake's involvement isn't just about the
Johnny Boy Boxing fight hype. I just want to ask you, what do you think about Terence Crawford? What do we think about Terence Crawford's performance, and do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right, I mean...
$100 million? I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
150.
150?
money. It's about bringing that big show energy to every fight he touches. He's the mastermind behind these crossover bouts and super fights, shaping the direction of some of boxing's most high-profile matchups. And now, he's got his hands in both Crawford's and Gervonta's latest moves. Fans are buzzing about how Turkey's influence is shaping the sport, turning every fight into a blockbuster event. Whether it's Crawford chasing Canelo...
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo has, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So,
or Tank intensifying his rivalries, it's all part of a bigger plan to dominate the headlines and keep fans hooked on their screens. And with Gervonta looking to go out with a bang, you can bet we're in for some serious fireworks before he hangs up the gloves. So, what does this mean for Crawford and Davis moving forward? For Crawford, this incident could have serious consequences. He's got a monumental fight against Canelo.
I don't want to box no more. I want to do therapy, right? But I feel as though if I do therapy, it will lose the fire that I have inside me. I want everything out of me where so I don't never think about fighting again. I don't think about even getting angry, you know what I mean? Because I have 2 girls, 2 daughters. I'm wanting to be much softer, you know what I mean? Be more humble and things like that.
Canelo lined up, and the last thing he needs is this kind of off-ring drama. Promoters and sponsors won't be thrilled about their fighter making headlines for street brawls, and it could jeopardize the fight altogether. Davis, on the other hand, has been hinting at retirement for a while now, and this incident might just push him closer to hanging up his gloves. He's got one more fight lined up against Lamont Roach.
They talking, but you know how it's gonna get. 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 But he ain't gonna get a real machine. You know how it's gonna get a real one. And I promise you, you better leave them home. You better leave the females home. On my mother, you better leave the females home and the kids. On my mother. Yeah, now watch this.
They gonna
now
be
watch.
There. They gonna be
now
there.
watch. Now watch.
What's different from 10 minutes ago?
You know
said
how
that?
you know how when they told you say how like I supposed to fought Lomachenko, right? Mm-hmm. And like how he said like he was retired and things like that. I feel as though like we've been in it so long that we are getting tired of it. Like we've been beating our body up so long, but it be like situations like just now, like when he talking that spark the plug again.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Is that all it takes for you? Is that all it takes? Just a little comment?
Nah, but that's what I want though. I don't want you to fight me like you saying you're going out.
It always go like this. It always go like